Hey guys, it's Emily. Welcome to Posy Lane. If you're brand new here at Posy Lane, we like to do fun, easy, and doable crafts. Subscribe for more crafting videos. If you're returning, I'm so glad you're back. I've been looking forward to this craft all week. It's almost summer and I'm getting so excited about the warm weather, and one of the things I love about the summer is all the bright and cheerful colors. Like when I go to Target or even the Dollar Tree, you'll see things with like really colorful flowers on it, fruits on them, and I'm a sucker for anything that's decorated with really cute fruit. One thing I did last summer was I painted this canvas. Because of the bright colors, I really wanted it to pop, so I did a black, and I had never painted on a canvas before at all. I decided just to paint some flowers because I was familiar with that, but it was kind of scary to do at first. And then once I finally did it, it was so therapeutic and so relaxing. I just want to encourage you, if you've never painted on something, go to the Dollar Tree, get yourself a canvas and paint. Today, we're going to be making some really fun and cute summer crafts. We're going to be using candy that looks like fruit. We're going to be dyeing sand dollars, going to do another edible arrangement that's going to look like flowers. And the thing I'm most excited about, we're going to be making something that looks like sea glass, and we're using Elmer's glue and food coloring to do that. Let's start with our Candy Fruit Kabob. I love crafts and I love candy, and I love making crafts with candy. I think it's so fun, and if you've seen any of my videos, you'll notice me using candy a lot. And I love having an excuse to try new candies, and this is one of those examples. I've never tried the Sour Patch watermelons before. I love Sour Patch Kids, they're my favorite candy, so I'm so excited to see how these taste. And we'll look at the other candies that we're using as we build it. I have used these sour belts a bunch of times in different crafts if you've seen different videos, and I love the S shape that you kind of get from it. I think it looks really cute on a kebab. I love using them for different crafts, and this will not be the last time you see these. With these fruit candy slices, I have seen these my whole life. They're pretty much sold in every store, and usually the store will have like their own brand of them even. Go to any store, you'll be able to find these. And I was really curious. They had different flavors, and I tried a couple of them, and they do have a different flavor. This craft is really simple to put together. I've got a couple sour belts and a couple of the candy fruit on it, and now I'm going to top it with these watermelon. And I love the idea that I kind of have some sweet things and some sour things on here to mix it up. I bought these, they're loot bags, and I like that they're just kind of plain. They're great to put treats in, and I think like 20 came in here. I've used them for lots of different crafts. They're really good to keep on hand because you never know when you need to seal something, and I like that this will keep the candy fresh. I love all the bright colors, and you'll notice a theme. I love things that have multiple purposes. This is edible and it's also decor. I'll lay them out on the table and guests can eat them now or they can take them home. I'm gonna make a couple more of these and just use different patterns so that they're all really colorful. Believe it or not, before last year, I had hardly ever used food coloring. And now that I've discovered that I can dye different things with food coloring, not just food, I'm always looking for new things that I can dye. Today, we're gonna be dyeing sand dollars because I was thinking about how sand dollars are really porous and probably would just soak up the dye. And I was right when I tested it out. I had this idea in my head, and sometimes you just get this idea for a craft in your head and you try to go find the pieces to build it, and you can't find it. Other times, you're just so determined to make that craft happen that you go and you look until you find those things, and that's what happened with this craft. I have been looking for sand dollars, and I had seen some at the Dollar Tree from a distance, but when I went up to them, they were plastic. And plastic is not porous, and I'm not gonna be able to dye that. I finally went to Hobby Lobby, and I found this whole really cute little basket full of all these tiny little sand dollars for only $4. I always have this rule with the Dollar Tree. If you see something, get it while you see it, because it might not be there. And I ended up going to 3 Dollar Trees trying to find a little wooden crate. Then I decided I'd just try Michael's and see if maybe they had one. And this ended up being 25 cents cheaper than the ones at Dollar Tree. So now I had all the pieces to put together my sand dollar crate. I started to try to dye the sand dollars just like I would with Easter eggs, and it was coming out too dark. So I ended up using a 1/4 cup of water to dye these in for each color. Now each color that I'm using has a different dye time and a different amount of dye that you need. For purple, you need it to sit a little bit over a minute, and you need about 3 drops of the food coloring. For pink, you need about 2 drops of food coloring, and it takes just about a minute for it to dye. With the blue, you only need one drop, and it takes less than 30 seconds for it to dye. Now that I'm done dyeing the sand dollars, I'm gonna let them dry for a few hours, and while I'm letting them dry, I'm gonna paint the crate that we're gonna put them in. I'm using some white acrylic paint from my stash that I have, a foam brush to apply it, and when I do this, my plan is just to only do one coat of the paint because I love when the wood grain kind of shows through. I'm going to be hot gluing this natural rope. I kind of tested it to see when it was going around. I thought about just doing one row, and I realized that 2 rows of this rope would fit perfect on the first plank. I really love how this natural rope contrasts with white. I'm hot gluing the end of my rope so that it's not going to fray and will stay together. Now that I've attached all the rope, it actually looks better than I thought it was going to be, and I really love the 2 rows. The sand dollars are dry now, and it did take a few hours for them to dry. I love the way these colors turned out because it's kind of hard after you pull them out to know what exactly they're gonna look like. And now that they're dried, I love this pale blue and pale purple, and the pink came out so pretty too. It kind of reminds me of like a mermaid. I noticed that they're just so small that if I put them down in here, you're not gonna really be able to see them. And so I found some seashells that I bought at the Dollar Tree a while ago, and I'm gonna use them kind of like a base in the crate and then put these on top. I love all the bright colors in here of the dyed sand dollars mixed in with the natural seashells. It just is like a little piece of the beach right here at home. I keep getting these ideas for what I'm going to call a themed party craft plate. I'm calling that for lack of a better name because I've not seen it before. What I'm going to be doing is using Nilla wafers and candy and arranging them on a plate to look like a flower. In the future, I have so many ideas. Don't be surprised if you see some more videos with ideas like this. I may even invest in some more plates just to make these. I got this idea because I was thinking about these snacks I had on the table, and wouldn't it be great if it had 2 purposes? I could use it for an edible decoration like a centerpiece, and then I'd also have it laid out for snacks. I love the idea because it saves time and it saves money because it has multiple purposes. This is our plate that we're going to be building our flowers, and we're going to be using Nilla wafers to make our petals, using cookie icing to give each of the petals a color. What I love about cookie icing is that you can just make a border and fill it in, move it around to fill it in all the way with a toothpick. I made 5 of the vanilla wafers in each color, and with the cookie icing you have to let it set and get hard before you can use it, and I'm going to arrange each of these into different blooms. I'm going to use a little bit of vanilla icing kind of to act like glue so things will stay secure on the plate. Now that I have the petals arranged, I'm going to just use 6 slits to act like the middle of the flower. I really like the contrast of the yellow with the purple. I think it really pops and is really fun and pretty. I bought a rainbow pack of these Twizzlers because they had this really pretty green in it, and I'm just going to cut these to the right size to act like a stem. I used these fruit slices earlier in another project, and I realized if I just cut these in half, it would look like a leaf. I dyed some coconut ahead of time. All you have to do is add a few drops of green food coloring to a baggie with the coconut and shake it up and let it sit out on a plate to dry, and you have dyed coconut that looks like grass. The last thing we're going to do is use one of these fruit slices. I'm going to cut it in half so it looks like a little happy sunshine in the corner. Now that we have all of our flowers arranged, you can either eat from the bowls of the different snacks that we have, or you can eat straight from the arrangement, and it looks so cute. We're gonna be making our own DIY sea glass. And when I was a little girl, I was really fortunate to go to the same beach every year. And they had this little village with cute shops, and one of the shops was a seashell shop. Say that 3 times fast. But the decorations in there were so crazy, just covered all the walls. And there's always all this really pretty sea glass in there hanging from the ceiling. I just remember it. And so we're kind of doing that in remembrance of it. All you need to make it is obviously glass, school glue, and food coloring. I bet you probably have all these things already in your home. And if you don't, it's only a few bucks to go get it all at the store. I'm making it so that I can use it as a party favor. I have some candies and sea-themed things to put in it. I'm going to be using it like a vinyl sticker to make summer themed shapes that will kind of like be a cutout from it. And I love the idea of using this glass like this, a paper bag or a plastic bag that they're just gonna throw away. You're giving them their little prizes and something that they can reuse and repurpose. I want to make a summer shape on the front of this jar, and so to do that, I found this removable vinyl paper at the Dollar Tree. I printed out clip art from online, and this is just a star shape that I'm going to trace onto here, and that will act as the sticker when I'm painting so that we'll have that cool summer shape. Found this clip art online, and I just copied and pasted it into a Word document and printed it out, and then I cut it out and I'm just tracing it onto the back of the vinyl. To make the paint is very simple. You just need Elmer's glue and the food dye. And when you mix the food dye in, you want to make it pretty bright and add a good bit of food dye because it looks brighter when it goes on and dries more matte. For this amount of glue, I added about 4 drops. Will vary for every dye and color that you use. Now that we have our paint mix, we're ready to put it on the jar. I did take the lid off because I don't want paint on the lid. And just make sure that you're doing really smooth strokes so it doesn't come out streaky. And I'm just gonna start right in the front over the vinyl. I'm only doing 1 coat of this so that it has that clear matte finish. I want it to still be kind of see-through, and the more layers you would do, the darker it's gonna look. I am gonna have to probably go back over some little spots and do some touch-ups, but I wanna make sure that when I do that, I don't put too much or make it gloppy. It will look darker than the rest of it if I'm not careful. I'm done painting now, and I know it may look a little streaky in parts, but it is gonna dry where it looks more matte and clear like we want it to. So now I'm just gonna let it sit and dry for a couple hours. Now that it's all dry, I'm gonna remove this vinyl sticker now, and just be really careful when you remove yours so you don't mess up the finish. You can see how nice and clear it is where we had put the vinyl, and now I'm gonna make a couple more and we'll be ready to make party favors. Here are some of the other mason jars that I made. I made this one with the blue neon dye and this one with the purple. I think the blue is my favorite. It's just so beautiful even looking at that back. I love how like it's kind of matte but also kind of like shiny at the same time. And for the shapes, I used a fish for this one and a seashell for this one, and I think they look so cute and summery. This is an example of one of the party favors I put together. I used little sea creatures that I found on Amazon and some candies in here, and everyone will get to pick one out with things that they love. Now that I've put all of this together, I'm ready to have a summer party. These fruits are just so adorable, and this just brings a little bit of that beach to your home and to your party. And I love just the idea of setting this out on the snack table. It would be so fun and cheerful, and having these for all the little kiddos to take home is just so special. I'm so happy with how it all turned out, and I'm so glad that you came and joined me this week. Thank you so much for joining me on Posy Lane, and I can't wait for our next craft.